So I'm going to show you today how I build a triple stack 55 whack. This is my 29 gallon whack. I do got a video on building this. It's a little chaotic, but I plan on building another one of these and making a way better video. But that video is in the description below. Now, I got this wall painted. How to paint a background of your I guess fish room or the wall on your background in your fish room. Also in the description below, I use Rust-Oleum because this is a way durable paint. It does got a kind of a fume to it, so you gotta do it with windows open and stuff, but it holds up a lot better than most latex paint. So the first thing you will need to do is figure out your measurements. Now, the way I'm building this stack is going to be 80 inches tall, so I will need 4 legs that's 80 inches, and that gives me plenty of room around the top of my ceiling here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 4 80-inch. So you might notice there's a little bit different color. 2 of these boards is from a previous sand I had that held 12 55 gallons on it. These 2 were. So I took that stand down, and I'm pretty well using the wood for another project. So these are 2 new 2x4s, and these are 2 of the older ones. Through this video, you might see some of the older wood with the newer wood mixed in, because I'm trying to stretch it as much as I can, and it's best to use it before it bows and stuff. So I have cut 4 2x4s 80 inches long. So the next step will be cutting 8 more, but not at 80 inches long. I'm cutting these at 51.5, but I'm going to cut 8 at 51.5, and then I'll show you what I'm using them for. Now I cut 8 51.5, just got them done. This is the pile of wood so far. Actually looks like it's getting ready to rain, so I might not get to stack it all up outside. Might have to cut it and then bring it inside. So I laid this down. Pretty well use a square in places that you can, and a level. It's pretty hard to do on uneven ground. You can do it inside and get a whole better measurement, but I ain't too worried about that. As you can see what I did, I laid it down, and I put these deck screws that I use on all my stands. They're a little costly, but they work great. You don't have to pre-drill with them. Now the measurements in between each tank, 1 tank, 2 tank, 3 tanks, is, I show you on the tape measure. Let me get a good tape measure. Now the placement of these on your legs is pretty well at the beginning, right here directly at the top. I just butt them up here, but as you can see, that's what it is on the tape measure. About 1 3/8 right here for the bottom of the board. So at the second shelf, we are pretty well at 25.1/8. Down here, we are at 50 inches and 7/8. And on down here at the main bottom, we are at 76 inches and 3/8. Now that's the placement of this shelf, each one for the 55 right here, and that's how I got the 29s also placed. So, you know, the shelves will be equal with each other. Just the 55-gallon tanks is a little bit taller, but you still got 3 to 4 inches to work with, so that's plenty. So go ahead and lay out your other frame and go ahead and do that, because the side pieces will be what connects it. So you can go ahead and frame these up if you're doing it this way, but this is just give you ideas. You can do it a different way if you want to, but this is how I did mine. So I went ahead and cut 8 13 inches, depending how wide you want your stand, will be how wide you cut these 8 here. 13 inches is matches good with the 29 whack I got, for it curves into itself and gives me about a 1/2 inch to play in and out with the tank itself, so I'm fine with that. So next step will be to get a helper, or you can do it laying down, either one. You want to make sure it's level, and go ahead and screw these down here, just like so. And that will be connecting these 2. Now on the bottom, hey, I just had you cut. You can pretty well see that you need to pretty well cut this off level with the bottom here. So you have to split this, which technically you wouldn't have to split it, but you do to make the connection, kind of like we're doing across here. Otherwise, you could just did it this way. But just go ahead and mark this and then use a straight edge and split it straight. So it's pretty well, it's nighttime outside and I had to finish it up. I didn't get the full video, but I explained to you what I did. Now on the inside of these, I cut and run these across. These was the 13 ones, inch ones that you connect and you make your frame out of. Then I run 2x4s all the way down on the inside, all the way down to the floor. Works out great, very sturdy. It don't have no give to it, and I mount it to the wall too, so that's extra, you know, extra strength and sturdiness. These boards right here, I cut these. These are 6 inches. 6 1/8 actually, and you shoot 2 screws straight down into this board right here, which is supported right here. The rim of the 55-gallon sets just like so on this, and it sets on this side the same way with 2 bolts. Now for added extra support for this and for my lights that I use, I mounted this 2x4, and it has 2 screws also straight into it and 2 on this 6-inch piece that's straight down. I got paint all over my hands, guys, just like so. Now that is where I mount my lights. Basically I show you how my lights is. Just right here, homemade LED lights. They mount. This one mounts right here on these, but I wanted what's 55-gallon, and I'm going to use a longer piece of PVC pipe cut in half with LEDs. I wanted that added support. So back to this, it's ready for stain. I used a 2-part stain. I'm going to stain it before I, you know, show you guys, and probably have it mounted. Now it won't have everything into it, you know, the tanks and all, but I will show you it stained and finished up. So I see you probably tomorrow, because I gotta stain this tomorrow, and it takes like 24 hours. It takes some time to stain. You want to make sure you use a 2-part stain, because stain itself is not waterproof. You know, you gotta have that poly whatever it is, the fancy clear coat stuff to help protect it from water. That's what on this one, and that's what's gonna be on this one. And it's also what's on my little shelf here that I ain't put cabinet doors on yet. So this is it actually mounted and everything. I'll show you how I did that. And I actually ended up doing a little things different. But let me turn some light on first. There you guys go. Basically what happened was I stained this with the 2-part stain I was telling you about. I actually can show you the stain that I used in case you want it. That's it. Stain and polyethylene in 1 step. And I took this center support out, because once I test fitted the tanks, it was good, but once I add my PVC lighting, it would brought it down too low. So I took them back out. Now if I want to just run a LED strip across the top of that piece of wood that we had there, it worked out great. But what I'm going to do is just mount my lighting here and here under each one the same way I got these mounted. You see under there, if you can, I drilled a hole and just use a super short little 4-way, and it just screws in the top here on this little piece of wood on both sides. And I'm going to do it the same way on this 55-gallon. Now the tanks do fit in here pretty snug. 51.5 is what I cut these to. You could go 52 inches instead of the 51.5. It give you a little bit more room in and out, but the tanks do fit in there good. I stick one in there and show you how it fits. I mounted it to my studs in the wall. I just cut some little bitty 2x4s. You must cut them in half because your tank sets about here. If you use a full 2x4, the tank won't go all the way back against the wall. I did it in every corner, here and here. So let me throw a tank in here and show you what it looks like. Just to give you an idea, I went ahead and stuck 2 tanks. Now, both these tanks I probably will end up resealing because I do gotta paint the background, and then I use my corner matting filters. Same thing I got in these tanks. But the 51.5, these guys fit in here pretty snug. So if you come out 52, you have a little bit more room, which the snugness, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with 51.5, but that gives you an idea of what we got. And as I said before, I use flat leads, basically picture frames, and I can just run my pipe in here, and I still got plenty of room to get in there with a net, a gravel vac, and all that stuff. And the picture frames, basically what I do is just fly that and feed and then pull it back. Works out great. If you wanted to, you could actually hot glue some magnets on this, and they wouldn't go nowhere. I just lay them on, they do fine. All in all, I think it turned out great. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it. And thank you for watching. Show your support by smashing that subscribe button. Any questions? Down below.